to welcome into the Shepherd Home Health and Hospice Studios, Mr. Brady Butler, candidate for State Senate. Good morning.
Hey, Todd, good morning, and thank you again for having me on.
Well, yeah, glad to see you again. We were just talking. It's crazy. It was 4 years ago, I guess, when we talked last, because you were running for Senate at that time, and you were kind of an unknown at that time, kind of a novice in politics, and you almost won the thing.
Yeah, I think we did really well. We had a big door knocking campaign and got out there, and I'm a little bit rusty this time, so we're going to see if my radio legs are ready to go. But yeah, I'm excited to do it. I'm passionate about the issues. I care about it, and yeah, 5 or 6 years ago, I woke up and I was like, hey, I got to participate in this thing. And guys with common sense and rough hands, that work in the oil and gas industry would be. We need guys like that in our legislature. So yeah, I'm just a regular guy hoping to make a change.
Well, that's cool. Well, I remember in talking to you before the last campaign, you said, before in your youth, you really weren't even, interested in politics, right? Kind of what was the change? What made you, start paying attention to what was going on at the state level?
Yeah, and I think I was so jaded by the process.
Yeah.
You just you feel hopeless, like you can't make a change. And so my first interaction with state government was a bill that wasn't being heard. I was like, this is a friend of mine. He's a author of a bill, and it's not going to be heard, not going to be voted on. Well, why didn't it get voted on? And so it was that process that really made me think, oh, if we change that bill hearing process, then maybe we can make changes. So I had hope after that and got involved. So.
Well, and so since that time, obviously you came up just a little bit short in the election. You've worked in the oil and gas industry for many, many years, right?
Yep. Yeah, so probably going on 12 or 13 years in oil and gas. And about 6 years ago, me and Bethany started buying old stripper wells, which are essentially just marginal wells that pass down from big companies. And so we started buying and refurbishing wells, and so we've been in operation for about 6 years. And so I'm a Senate District 26, as it's drawn now, has been my home for 39 years. I was born in Weatherford and grew up in Caddo County, went to school at Lookeba Sickles, and migrated to Custer County for about 17 years. And now we're over by American Horse Lake, and our kids romp around in the country, and we love it. So.
And speaking of kids, you have a house full, don't you?
Yes, we have a house full, and my oldest daughter, she's out of the house now. She's going to SWOSU, Lord willing, and hopefully going to be an accountant someday.
Cool.
And then we've got 7 in the house, and 5 boys, 2 girls in the house, and my 5 boys. I mean, it's a madhouse sometimes, no doubt about it.
Oh, I can imagine. And one of them's having a birthday.
Yes. So I have 2 birthday shout-outs.
Okay.
Happy birthday to Gabriel, my son. He's turning 9 today.
Nice.
And then also one of my best buddies, Ben Vestrom. He's the Custer County Republican Party chairman. His son, William Vestrom, turned 2 on Saturday. So happy birthday, fellas. We love you, and we're thankful for you.
Oh, that's super cool. Well, you have also delved into the political scene, too, since your campaign. You had a chance to kind of be a legislative assistant for Dusty Devers, who's out of Elgin, right?
Yes, yep, yeah. True. So Dusty and I had only met briefly prior to 2023. But he gave me a call whenever there was a special election. His senator had resigned, and he said, Brady, would you be willing to help me out with the campaign? And I said, well, I can only get you 48% of the vote, so you better call a professional. But he called me back a few days later, and he said, you're the best I've got. Will you do it? And so we pulled our camper down to Elgin, helped him with the primary, and then when he won his general election, he asked me to be his executive assistant in the Capitol. So I got to go into the Capitol in 2024 as an employee of the Senate and got to see a lot of things firsthand. There's even some things that the executive assistants can't see. So there's still some behind closed doors things. But I got to see the process. I got to learn where the bathrooms are, where you clock in and all that stuff. Well, you don't actually clock in, but you get the idea. So I learned the ropes and got to see the process. And I knew a lot going in. My big area of focus is legislative rules. I think that it's inherent within the duty of a representative to be able to present legislation before the body that they're a part of and ask the members of that body to cast a vote on it. I don't think that's something that you should have to there shouldn't be a barrier to entry on that. And so what from my opinion, a lot of the conservative reforms that that the voters genuinely want never get brought up for a vote. And so I would like to see that process reformed. It takes 25 members to change that process in the Senate. And the provision in the Oklahoma Constitution is Article 5, Section 30. And it just says that the chamber may write rules to govern its proceedings. And my contention is, let's write better rules.
Now, as you mentioned, some of your frustration is legislation that never gets heard. But there has to be some kind of process in place, too, because we've seen, I think, wasn't there a record number of bills filed this year? What, like 2,000 and like 400 are heard? How is it possible to even go through that number of bills? Do we need to make limits on how many bills can be introduced? I mean, how does that work?
This is my favorite question.
Okay.
This is my favorite question.
Okay.
Because what we see is right now, some senators get 50 bills heard in committee and some get 0.
Yeah.
And I have a problem with that. And so I actually wrote a 50-page rule document based off the framework of the current rules. We just amended them, gutted them, wrote a better rules package. And what it did is it allowed every representative or every senator in the state to number their bills from 1 to 100, your highest priority bill to your lowest priority bill. And then the bills in our rules proposal would come up for hearing according to that priority number. And so whether you're from, the Panhandle, from Southeast Oklahoma, from Oklahoma City, every senator would have an equal number of opportunities to present legislation. So that way, because really and truthfully, I don't want more bills heard. We passed like 415 new laws in 2025. Like that's not the desire. So I would like to slow the process down and create equal representation for every district.
Do you think it's leadership that stops certain bills from being heard, or does it have something to do with tenure, like how long you've been in the chamber?
Well, it's both. So you can get into leadership as a young member, as a new member. We see that oftentimes. But I think it's a tradition because we've kind of always done it this way. One of my kind of heroes politically in Oklahoma is Charles Key. He was struggling with this back when the Democrats were in power. And he thought when the Republicans took over, he would get his bills heard. That happened in 2008 or 9. And then he still didn't get his bills heard because Republican leadership didn't want to hear the bills either. And so it's kind of like a generational cultural thing. And 2, how many Oklahomans can quote Article 5, Section 30?
I can't.
Nobody knows about the rules. And so my campaign is based on information. Here's some information. Article 5 says this. We have rules. What do those rules say? How many voters in Senate District 26 have read the Senate rules? I mean, people are uninformed as it is. I mean, I was a very uninformed constituent. And so my contention is let's get informed. Let's learn the process. Let's figure out what's in the rule book. One of the rules I always point to is it says that nothing in this section shall be construed as to guarantee a hearing on any measure. And on the first day of session every other year, the senators vote on the rules. And so they signed off on this. And so oftentimes we blame the pro tem, we blame the speaker, we blame the committee chairman for not hearing the bill. I blame the majority that elected the bad rules on organization day in every odd-numbered year.
Do you think there's much thought, though, put into that? Or they're like let's just vote this. We vote this every year and then just go on to hearing bills. I mean, how much of an appetite is there, you think, to change those rules?
Yeah, so first off, I would say there's not a lot of thought that goes into them. But I'm going to tell you a story. This is one of my favorite stories. So in 2024, when I got to work as Senator Deaver's executive assistant, he introduced 9 pieces of legislation. 0 of those bills were heard in committee. We wrote a rules package. We did a website. It's called goldenrulesok.com. And we just demonstrated with numbers. We showed that in 2024, Dave Rader had 41 bills heard in committee. Dusty had 0. And so we put a lot of pressure out there. I was going around, to communities and talking about rules and talking about these disparities that happen in the chamber. And we really focused on it. The next year, Dusty had 13 bills heard in committee. And what I saw is that, oh man, they don't want us to talk about the rules. The establishment doesn't want us to talk about the rules because this is the issue. If we get good rules, we can change government. And so I believe that this is kind of like the sacred cow that protects government as it is, and I'm ready to butcher the cow.
So if you get in and you win this race, are there some other senators besides Dusty Deevers that would kind of be on your side that maybe give you enough numbers to actually change these rules, you think?
I don't think we're there yet. Okay. I think we're probably so we have to see the numbers in the Senate. We have 40 Republicans, 8 Democrats, and so those 40 Republicans, you've kind of got your far right wingers, and you've got your kind of state chamber economic development crowd. Kind of those are the ends of the spectrum, and then you've got a lot of senators that fall somewhere in between. And so, do we have the numbers today? No, we don't. But how do we change it? Well, we talk about it. It's not grandstanding. You know, a lot of times people in the minority get accused of grandstanding. I would say that that's taking an opportunity to provide information on important issues when you're not in the majority. And so I believe the most powerful thing that we have, and you use it every day, it's our voice. It's to communicate information, try to persuade minds. And so that's, I'm going to go fight for it, whether I have the majority or not. But I do think that we're probably, 4 or 6 years out from having a real conversation about it.
Okay. Talking with Brady Butler, who is a candidate for state senate on the Western Oklahoma Wake Up Show. Quick break. Back with more right after this.
Now through May 2nd is your chance to save big on tools. It's the 10-year anniversary tool sale at Napa of Weatherford. Right now, 10% off all tool brands. Plus, get an extra 10% off already marked down Milwaukee tools. Napa air compressors, Portacools, toolboxes, Carlisle tools, all 10 to 20% off. These are savings you absolutely don't want to miss. So drop by Napa of Weatherford before May 2nd and take advantage of the 10-year tool sale. Napa of Weatherford, located at 115 South Washington Avenue. Open Monday through Friday, 7 to 6, Saturdays, 8 to noon.
Manufactured career politicians built to serve themselves, like John Eccles. But Jeff Starling, he's not part of the political machine. He's a pro-Trump outsider and an honest broker who puts Oklahoma first. Starling's a husband, a father, pro-life, and a man of faith. In the courtroom, Starling has upheld the rule of law and taken on the tough cases. He stood up for our farmers, our oil and gas producers, and our law enforcement. And Starling will protect the Second Amendment from radical gun grabbers. As Attorney General, Jeff Starling will take back control of Oklahoma farmland from China, protecting what's ours. And Starling will work with ICE to keep criminal illegal immigrants out of our state, because our safety comes first. A political outsider, a trusted pro-Trump conservative through and through. That's Jeff Starling.
Authorized and paid for by Starling for Attorney General 2026.
Turn back the pages of history. See the Route 66 Porterhouse Diner where Elvis ate a hamburger. Play school in a one-room schoolhouse. Take photos of historic classic cars and trucks, all on display at the Heartland of America Museum in Weatherford, with hundreds of exciting exhibits giving you an up-close look at the life in Weatherford and Western Oklahoma, all along Route 66.
Get your kicks on Route 66.
Visit the Heartland of America Museum today, located on South Frontage Road, just off the East Main Weatherford exit between Airport Road.
Hey, who took my fries?
No mystery here, McDonald's did. Those hot, golden French fries are hard to resist, and they're even better with the classics you love, like the Big Mac and Quarter Pounder. Craving chicken? McDonald's has crispy chicken sandwiches and nuggets the whole family will enjoy. Add a cold soft drink or a fresh cup of coffee and you're set. The Phillips Family McDonald's proudly serves Weatherford, Clinton, and Elk City, keeping families fed and smiling every day. Stop in or drive through your local Phillips Family McDonald's in Weatherford, Clinton, or Elk City.
Deer Creek Market and Variety in Hydro, the best in friendly small-town customer service, hosting everything from fresh hand-cut steaks, fresh ground beef made in-house, along with fresh fruits and vegetables, grown and made in Oklahoma nuts, candies, salsas, pickles, and more. And don't forget to check out the Variety side, full of unique made-in-Oklahoma gift items. And now, treat yourself to the brand-new ice cream and coffee parlor, your new go-to spot for a sweet scoop or a fresh brew. Shop Deer Creek Market and Variety in Hydro.
Welcome back to the Western Oklahoma Wake Up Show. Our guest in studio, Brady Butler, candidate for State Senate primary election coming up on June 16th. It's a 3-person race. So, if you get over 50% of the vote, that's it. You'll be the next senator because there is no Democrat running. But obviously, a lot of times, 3-person races, you've done that before. I mean, a lot of times it comes to a runoff, right?
Yeah, very high likelihood we go to a runoff. And also, while I have the chance, while we're on the topic, I wish Rick and Jessica the best. I don't use language like I'm the best man in this race at all, because my position is we have very good candidates this time around. Rick is a staple in our community. The gas in my vehicles is from ASAP, because he does a great job, and so no animosity there towards Rick or Jessica. Just I think this is we're lacking this in our country. There's a segment of our country that doesn't want to have conversations. They want to call you racist or run into a building and with a gun.
Yeah,
we saw that just a couple of days ago, and so it's really sad. But I'm so happy to have the conversation, and I appreciate them being in the race.
Well, I appreciate you coming in and chatting about things. Let's talk about issues that are important to you. Obviously, everybody out here is interested in tax policy, whether it's income tax, property tax, a lot of conversation about property taxes. We have a new cap that's going to be in place for homesteads. There's going to be a state question to maybe eliminate property taxes for homesteads. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I love the conversation on sound currency, tax reform, these things, because I think the number one issue that's really affecting the voters right now and the constituents is cost of living. I mean, it's a tough go out there, especially for families that are on a single income. If dad's going to work and mom stays at the house with the young kids or something, there's a lot of trouble there right now. So when it comes to tax reform, I put taxes into one of two categories. I have just taxes, which are fair taxes and taxes that are not forcibly taken from you, and then also unjust taxes, which they threaten you with fines, penalties, fees, jail time, or loss of property if you don't pay them. And so I am always going to be advocating that we move from income taxes and property taxes to more consumption type taxes, because it gives the taxpayer a say in the issue. If you want to buy a pair of tennis shoes, you get to choose. One of the things that came up a few years ago was the elimination of the state portion of the grocery tax. I wasn't supportive of that because, sales taxes, if you have a sales tax, you're taxing illegals, one, you're taxing out-of-state tourists, two, and I'm like, hey, the more the merrier. If there's going to be illegals here, we want them paying taxes. If there's going to be tourists here, we want them paying taxes. Now, ideally, the illegals can't come in, but the tourists, we love tourists. I mean, come on and bring your tax money. But so on the property taxes, I've talked to a lot of residents who they're not utilizing the services. That for whatever reason, they don't have kids in the school system. Either they're older or homeschooled or private schooled or something like that. They don't go to the county health department. They're not getting books at the county library, and they're not being a burden on the county court system. But they have a $3,000 or $4,000 tax bill, and so essentially, I consider that a redistribution of wealth. We're essentially taking from one segment of the population and providing services for others, and I think that's one of the big drivers in education. I'm hearing from a lot of teachers right now, and there's a lot of teacher burnout. And a lot of that teacher burnout is because their job description, they're doing things that I don't think is really their, it's not math, science, reading. It's really parental things. It's things that the parents should be doing. And so, I think that the redistribution of wealth and those sorts of tax policies are a bad idea. So I would like to see us move to more consumption taxes. That way there's, people have a say in it.
When you talk about consumption taxes to replace property tax, that would be things like when you get a haircut, I guess when you get your oil change, maybe a heating and air guy or electrician comes, you would pay a tax for those services as well. But would they also have to increase taxes on possibly sales taxes and gas taxes and things like that to make up the difference? Because I hate all forms of taxation, but unfortunately you get stuck in, okay, this is the way we fund these things.
Yeah.
Replacing it, that would take time, right?
Well, so let's just do a little bit of math here.
Okay.
And I'm not going to go into the heat and air, like the services kind of thing.
Yeah.
Let's just stick with just the sales tax because it's easy math. But the half-cent Custer County sales tax that we currently have generates around $200,000 to $300,000 a month. There is about $3.2 million of revenue there per year. And if we were to eliminate the property taxes on homesteads, I believe that it's somewhere around $7 million in total losses. And so if you do the math, you're talking about a 1.25 to maybe 1.75% sales tax, just like the county half-cent sales tax we currently have. And so that wouldn't be taxing new things. It would just be increasing that sales tax to make up that budget shortfall. And so the question is if I offered you your property taxes as they currently sit or a 1.5% sales tax, that's an easy decision for me because that's no big check at the end of the year. It meters out slowly over the course of the year when I'm buying my, Snickers at the gas station or my tennis shoes at the shoe store. And so I think the math is there that there's a lot of counties that have the tax base to move to a reasonable increase their sales tax just slightly, 1% to 2%, and make up that budget shortfall pretty easily. Some counties are not there, and there's going to have to be a conversation on that. But I think a lot of the counties in District 26 have the sales tax base.
What about income tax? We've had, an incremental decrease in income tax at the state. There are some candidates for governor that are proposing that we do away with it completely. Is that attainable in our state?
Well, I think that we have to look at all things. We have to look at, because there's two problems. One is spending. So if we don't address spending, then you've got to, if you eliminate a tax, you have to increase the tax. You're just essentially moving it from one to the other. Now, you might be going from a bad tax like the income tax to a more fair tax like a consumption tax or a sales tax. But so spending is one element of it. But I'm not a fan of the 19-year maybe path to zero. I think it's really a lot of times we do these tax reforms like the grocery tax cut, and it's not tangible. I don't know about you, but I didn't really feel it. I wasn't like at the grocery store, like celebrating.
Yeah.
I personally, I don't have an enormous property tax bill. I don't have an enormous income tax bill because I have a ton of dependents. but there's, gross production taxes, sales taxes are kind of where I pay my taxes at.
Yeah.
And so, but the thing with sales taxes is they're just hassle free, from the purchaser perspective.
You don't have to fill out forms.
Yeah. Now, I would say, I think that the businesses who are doing those remittances should be compensated and compensated well, for essentially providing a service to the state.
Tell you what, it's a complex issue, and there's a lot of different taxes to talk about it, but it's very important stuff. I can't believe how fast our time goes, Brady. Well, a couple of minutes left. Just talk about why you think you're the best candidate for the job and why people should vote for you.
Yeah, and I want to just address just quickly the taxes. I tell Bethany it's kind of like a sheet. There's about 30 neighbors, and we all have this sheet, that's spread in between us. And we're all pulling on it. When you pull on one side, the other side, feels the tension. And so that tension is normal. It's kind of uncomfortable, but as long as we can maintain lines of communication, I think we can get to a better tax policy and reduce the cost of living in Oklahoma. But just quickly on, why should someone vote for me? I would say that, I represent the faction of Oklahomans that are unsatisfied with our current form of government. I'm looking for substantial reforms to how we do government. Right now, there's so many issues that we can't even talk about because they're out of reach. And so I'm kind of looking at the historical. I love Patrick Henry and George Mason. These are my heroes. I'm looking back at 1787, 1788. On thinking about how to reform government, not just, we need tax reform. Well, we do, but how are we going to get there? And we have to change the structures and the processes. And so I am bent towards that. I believe I have the experience to fight for good reform, and I don't boast in myself. I'm not God's savior to Oklahoma by any means. I'm just a passionate guy who has studied these things, and I think I've put my finger on the big issues, and I'd be happy to go fight for you.
How can people find out more information about you, Brady?
Yep. So, number one, give me a call. My phone number is 580-330-3337. And then website's BradyButler26.com.
All right. Brady Butler, thanks so much for coming in.
Absolutely, Todd. Thank you for having me on.
Good luck to you. All right, stick around. We got news coming up next.
Over 20,000 square feet of furniture and appliances at Todd Fest. David.
Harold, we are the one-stop shop. Literally, we have mattresses, furniture, and appliances. We've been here 80 years, and the reason we're here is because we service people after the sale.
A big tradition going on at Tot Fest for 80 years, folks. Shop at Tot Fest for all of your furniture and appliances. Tot Fest, the best in quality, service, and price. Main corner, downtown Weatherford.
Why does Progressive work hard for truckers? Because truckers unite the world. Truckers unite soccer moms and oranges. Truckers unite unbelievably scratchy carpets with 2-star hotels. Truckers unite capes with adults who watch too many wizard movies. But truckers can't do any of this if they're not on the road. That's why Progressive has over 360 heavy truck claims reps to help you get back on the road fast. Get a quote in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
All right, 7:35. I think we got John Matthews over in the news center. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Happy Tuesday.
Yeah.
We are doing.
Did you have to fight bees or anything yesterday? Did you get a break from the ball field?
Got a little bit. No, Todd, there's no such thing anymore. No, we were out at the Clinton ball fields. By the way, shout out to them. Yes, they're looking great over there.
Yeah.
These big, huge dugouts, so much room, and we had a lot of fun. Played the same team that beat us on Sunday in the tournament. And we did not get our revenge. No, the Clinton Red Tornadoes lady girls softball team, they took us down pretty good.
Pretty salty, huh?
Yeah, pretty salty team. We had a lot of fun. Everyone over there was really nice and had a good time. And Clinton, you could tell, has put a lot of work in their softball field. So.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting over there. That's all in that same area, kind of by Acme Brick Park,
Yeah, I think
right?
it's called Schumacher Field, Acme Park.
We're going there Thursday for some baseball. Yeah.
Bring cash. You need to get that concession stand going.
Oh, they don't do the Square app?
I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, yeah. I always forget to hit the ATM. I'm not a cash person.
I know.
Anymore. I should be.
I know.
Dave Ramsey tells me to have an envelope, but unfortunately, I just use my debit card for
Finley
everything.
goes to Cordell tonight.
Oh, I hear they're pretty good, too.
Yep, and then we've got, then we're back in Weatherford on Thursday and back in Clinton on Friday. It's just
all right.
That's life, Todd. I don't know.
Girl dad.
Kind of regretting it a little bit. We got a middle school soccer tournament this weekend.
Oh, my gosh.
And we played middle school soccer last night. And then tonight, I somehow, some way, I said yes to hosting a SWASU athletic banquet.
See, you just can't tell people no.
I can.
I can. I used to have that problem. Now I'm like, no, I'm old. I get up at 4 o'clock. Can't do it.
So I need to be more no.
Yeah. Say no.
Or charge enough money that they have to tell you no because they can't afford you.
There you go.
That's the secret.